Welcome back to episode 92 of 5 Minutes of X, where 5 usually means somewhere between 5 and 10. I'm reading every mutant comic Marvel ever made month by month, and this week we get a planet-sized temper tantrum, literally, and the biggest tease I have shared thus far. All right, only Avengers books for the first half of 1971, so we'll be rocketing through as we cover 2 Avengers issue per episode. Both books today were written by Roy Thomas. On January 12th, Avengers number 86, Sal Buscema penciled that one, and on February 9th, Avengers number 87 drops with new to us artist, I'm going to butcher this name, I apologize, Frank Giacoia probably? I don't know. Frank is mostly a Golden and Silver Age inker who started at Marvel before it was called Marvel. His first credits are from Timely Comics, the precursor to the Marvel name itself. And he's inked actually basically every Marvel book at some point. He also drew books for all of the majors here and there. He did pass in 1988, and though we haven't seen his name in lights here on the show until now on this channel, we have definitely seen his inks before, and we'll continue to do so almost really up until his passing in 88. January of 1971 also saw the release of X-Men number 69, which reprinted issues of the X-Men 16 and 19, respectively. I covered those issues in episodes 27 and 30. We do get a new cover here from Sal, and I actually think it's a good one. This is a really good one. Sal Buscema did a great job on this. In the last episode of this show, I talked about how Wanda, Pietro, Vision, and Goliath were transported via Thor's hammer from Archon's universe to Universe 712 instead of our own, the 616. Avengers 86 picks up where, with a quick recap, Stan Lee used to say that he wanted to treat every comic like it was the first one that a kid ever picked up. So in cases like this one, you get a page of like a last time on before moving on to the new story. And I really respect that. I think that's really cool. The Avengers are still trying to stop that rocket from taking off, as they saw that it would destroy this Earth and the ability of men to wear shirts. The Squadron Sinister, who are the Avengers of this universe, don't like that, and our heroes are trying to stop the rocket. Only one from their ranks, Nighthawk, is a believer. There's some punching and general speedstering before Wanda puts a sphere hex on the rocket and grounds it. After the rocket is on solid ground, cool heads prevail, and the 2 teams just start talking. We meet Dr. Spectrum. He seems to be like their version of Captain America. He's definitely their team leader. He tells us the story of Brainchild, this 10-year-old kid whose parents both had high doses of radiation, leading to him being super, super smart. One problem, though, is he's got this oversized cranium, and people are looking. At like 9, he goes to work for the government, and he gets an island to himself to build stuff for the military. But he's 9 and he looks a little different and probably doesn't have a lot of social skill. So this rocket that he's building isn't for study of the sun, like he's saying. It's to kill everyone on the planet, including himself. Dudes will make sure to take off them shirts first, though. Three times that happened. Okay, so we do get a flash page of Thor, Iron Man, and Black Panther working on getting the 4 heroes back. That's nice. But what follows is both hero teams in this new universe first trying to level with Brainiac, but it leads to just punching. Brainiac has this 10-foot purple man with glowing eyes. He's pre-shirtless, ready for the end times. Goliath isn't on this page, so that's just inconvenient. So then we get this gloopy, gross monster from Watchmen. Sort of predates Watchmen by like 17 years. Sorry for the spoiler for a comic that came out in 1987, but I find it really weird that like multiple comics from the last 5 Avengers books have referenced Watchmen, a book that won't come out until 87. Anyway, okay, so this monster takes down Viz, and Brainiac also has this tentacle chariot that does some fighting. It's a lot of fighting. In the end, Goliath uses a knocked out Squadron Sinister member as an arrow to crash Brainiac's floating chariot. In the crash, the 10-year-old bumps his noggin and begins calling for his mother. His melon returns to normal size as all the weapons disappear into thin air, and the four Avengers do as well. When our heroes materialize, they are just home back on Earth 616. This issue ends with a very poignant thought from Vision, quote, "Think, Pietro, we have returned from one Earth to another, wherein 3 Avengers searched for 4 others and seemingly found them. But how can we be certain that we have not been rescued by a third world, one all but identical to our own?" Then finally he says, "Will we ever truly know?" So Avengers number 87 does exactly what it says on the tin. In this issue, the Avengers are chilling in their super suits, and Jarvis is bringing tea. Finally, we see T'Challa without his mask on. I'm really digging that. As we chill and drink tea, T'Challa admits that he's homesick and begins telling a backstory. And it's a pretty unique story. And I do recommend that fans of Black Panther or just comics in general check it out. It does share some beats with the first Black Panther film, the Marvel film. But there's one problem with this story, and that it says there's no mutants in it. So the story is kind of a bummer, and T'Challa is bummed after telling it, and he heads out of the mansion alone and kind of does like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pose on top of this building here. All right, so the way Brainiac gets taken down is lame, but the rest of this is great. Questions like the one that Vision poses at the end of the issue are pretty basic for science fiction at this point, but in 1970, only a few science fiction writers had crossed the cultural zeitgeist by this point, so I'm guessing a lot of readers would not have been exposed to this kind of thinking. I wish Brainiac could have had a better origin and end, but everything else about this two-parter was pretty awesome. Though again, I am biased towards science fiction, so that may not be fair. Avengers 87 is a great issue of Avengers. I know it may seem like I'm not giving it its time in the light here, but there's no mutants in it after the first 2 pages. Wanda and Pietro are but cameos in this issue. So that's your dose of mutant history for today. Check out Jordy.com for character info, reading lists, and whatever else I'm cooking up. New episodes drop Wednesdays at noon and Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern. Remember, somewhere out there in a universe almost identical to our own, you made slightly better decisions. You're here, though, so